Crazy Taxi!
Crazy Taxi was developed and published by Sega, directed by a rude dude called Kenji Kano, and originally came out in 1999 for the arcade. It was then ported to many different consoles over the years. My personal first exposure was on the GameCube version, where I couldn't even finish the first level of the mission mode, so hopefully that wasn't some foreshadowing 20 years ago. The Steam release, which is the one we're going to be looking at, was released in 2011 though, so quite some time afterwards. Crazy Taxi is an arcade-style time trial racing game where crazy taxi drivers drive crazy taxis in a city that is taxi crazy. I cannot believe I just said that on the first take. You got 4 characters, who all have slightly different handling and looks, ranging from terrible to horrible. And I always liked BD Joe the most, because when I was a kid, I always thought that his taxi looked a bit like this biscuit that I liked. So the two of them just became like completely inseparably related in my head. Even to this day, when I think about BD Joe and his taxi, all I can think about is this M&M biscuit, bro. I don't know what it is, like MK Ultra. The gameplay loop is simple. You pick up customers, you drop them off for an increase in time and points, weave in and out of traffic, do some other crazy tricks to increase how much they're going to tip you afterwards. These people are all thrill seekers, by the way. The console and the Steam release has got multiple variations on the core gameplay. We got the arcade mode, which is the arcade map with, the original one released in the arcade, where you can play for the time, which is where you pick people up and drop them off and get time increases. Or you can play for score by setting a fixed time limit and then just picking up as many as you can within the fixed time limit. We're going to be using that quite a bit later on. Then we have the original mode. This version of the map was developed for the home release for the consoles, for the Dreamcast, and it's way bigger than the original map. And then we got Crazy Box, the nightmare horror show mission mode torture simulator that definitely will not be giving me PTSD every single time I go to a bowling alley for the next 40 years. There are 12 Steam achievements in Crazy Taxi. To get the perfect, we're going to have to play every mode. I did all of the chibi hunting for this game on my Twitch stream, so if you're into that, feel free to check it out sometime maybe, or whatever.
Wow, I feel like a demon just left my body.
But anyway, let's get into these chivis. So, as for the Steam achievements, we're going to be going through them in the order that I got them in. And the first one is called Arcade C License, which is get a C license in arcade mode. I know, I can't believe it either. Earlier on, when I was talking about going for score or going for time, this is where all this starts to come into play and start to matter for the achievements. Both arcade mode and original mode both have a scoring band system where if you get a certain amount of points, or money in this case, within a specific amount of time, then that will award you a specific license. So to get the C license, you have to get over $2,000 in your playthrough. When I got my C license, I feel like I'm reminiscing on a better time in my life or something. When I got my C license, it was when I just booted up the game and was just playing it to get the controls down. We went into classic arcade mode where you pick up the passengers and get more time for dropping them off and picking up new ones, and I just played well enough somehow to get the C license on my first go, which was quite nice and quite convenient. The second achievement on the list is Arcade S License, or Arcade Slicense. For this one, we used the fixed time mode because I realized that I was nowhere near skilled enough to be able to get higher scores on normal mode because I am not good at Crazy Taxi, nor do I enjoy it anywhere near enough to spend any time getting good at it.
Oh my god.
So I set the game time limit to 10 minutes, got to work taking people to the places they thought they needed to go, but were likely just using their taxi as a near-death experience simulator. And by the end of it, was astonished, in fact, to see that we had the S license so soon. Honestly, it's a shame that we got the licenses done so quick, because that meant that the majority of the playthrough had to be spent on Crazy Box. And there are few things that I would enjoy less than Crazy Box, honestly. I could draw parallels with waterboarding, listening to Nickelback, or having to watch more than 25 seconds of any Carry On movie.
Third
up, we have Arcade B License, or B-License, where now we have to try and get a score that sits between the C and the S license, but not the A license. To claim our Arcade B license, I set the fixed timer to 5 minutes. just went ahead and did my thing. While it may not seem like much, it is quite an addictive gameplay loop. It's fun, it's arcadey. One of the biggest appeals of Crazy Taxi as well, when I was playing this as a kid, was the soundtrack. There were only like 3 songs. I mean, it was like not even the full songs, but I think it was Bad Religion and The Offspring, 2 bands which I just loved as a kid. Anyway, before we start talking about music for a million years, which I will do, let's talk about the next achievement. Hey, it's a B-class license, baby! Our 4th achievement is called Arcade A License, or a license. This arcade run was when I started fully theorizing about the score band threshold. Before we started the run, I said to my chat, I bet if I can get under 4,500 points, then we'll end up with an A-class license. And so when I got to like 4.3k, I just aimlessly drove around until the timer was up, just singing. And what do you know? I was actually right. So there we have it. That was our Arcade A License. Our next couple of achievements come from the original game mode, and it mirrors what we just did on arcade, getting our license, a license, license, and license. And the first one that we got was this license. So again, I just went into the game mode, set a 10-minute timer, got as many points as I could, ended up coming out with about 5,000. So that's where we identified the score threshold for the S license. About 5k, nice. Moving on to our original A license, repeating the same method as last time, just making sure to have under 4,500 points and then getting to joyride around the city, Bart Simpson style in Simpsons Hit and Run. Goated game, by the way. Then when it came time for the B license, once again selecting the set time limit, this time getting around 3,500 points for the B, but for this one I ended up parking up on the side of the road and just talking about stuff, getting deep. Yeah, you know. So we're already on the C license for the original mode. This has felt a little bit like a quick fire round actually, I'm not gonna lie. For this one I set the timer a lot lower. The first time I did it, I actually didn't manage to hit the threshold for the points and didn't even get a C license, so that was quite sad. But the second time around I stepped up my game and we finally grabbed it, the fabled original license. But with all the licenses out of the way, it was now time to move on to Crazy Box. Oh good god, if only I knew what I had in store for me. There are 4 achievements here associated with the Crazy Box, and you get them after completing a full segment of Crazy Box, so you don't get them per mission, but more after you complete a line of missions, like a game of very sadistic bingo. The difficulties of the levels in Crazy Box range from, that wasn't bad, I did that first time, to, I would really much prefer to pull my eyes out and burn them in hydrochloric acid. I can unfortunately say bowling alleys have been forever tainted to me. Thanks, Crazy Taxi. And thank you, Crazy Box Level 1S. You ruined my life. In order to complete most of these levels, you're expected to use a bunch of these in-game techniques that the game actually never teaches you in arcade or original mode, so it tries to do a job of teaching you how to use them in Crazy Box. This is the reason why I couldn't finish level 1 when I was a kid, because I didn't understand what they were or how to use them or when to use them, so I had to look it up online while I was streaming. So yeah, here in Crazy Box, the first level was this one level where you just go down a ramp, and in order to get to the distance required in the leap, you would have to do this tech where you would have to put your car in reverse over and over again to try and reach the end. Kind of really annoying, but we got there eventually. Turns out putting your car in reverse and to accelerate over and over again actually gives you a major speed boost, so don't try that one at home. The second level was you just had to drive on a beach from point A to point B. An easy first time attempt for an epic Crazy Taxi gamer like me, and then we got to 1-3. 1-3 was fine, you just have to pop balloons. I think it took me a couple of times while I figured out the appropriate route, but it really wasn't bad in the end. Hooray! We did them! Then we got to 1S. This level absolutely completely broke me. It's a level where you'd have to go through and get all the bowling pins in the time limit by using a specific drifting tech on each one, and if you missed one of them or ran out of time, then you would have to restart and do it again. This level completely destroyed me. But yeah, after about an hour of attempts, I finally made it through, and I was enthusiastic, to say the least. But there's also like RNG involved. Come on, please let this be the one. Oh my god! Oh, sweet release! Thank you! God above, thank you! Releasing me from my torment. It felt like finally seeing the sun again after spending 45 years underground. And on top of that, we also got a little chibi. Totally worth it, right? I don't know if it was. Moving on to the next line of levels in Crazy Box. At this point, I was kind of prepared to take on the world after having done the hardest mission of all time and thinking, surely there can't be any as bad as that, right? Luckily I was right, but I feel like if I wasn't, I might have just given up. But then again, I'm no quitter, baby. Hey, level 2-1 was a level where you have to get a 15 combo by drifting around the circular arena. 2-2 is a simple A to B where you have to use the drift to get around some 180 hairpin corners. 2-3, a mission where you would have to combine drifting with the speed boost mechanic to get to the end. The final level of the second row where you would have to do drifting and precise movement to get to the end with a passenger in the back within the time limit. This one wasn't too bad. Didn't take me too many attempts, but still felt accomplished nonetheless by the time I'd finished it. So according to Crazy Taxi, we are now certifiably a superb driver, or superb driver, epic bacon. So here we are on achievement 11. We may have just been called a superb driver, but we want to go further than that. We want to be called a crazy driver. Bro, if I say crazy one more time, just like before, we have another line of missions to complete. 3-1, a nightmarish hellscape where you have to pick up people in the middle and then take them to the end of the road because they couldn't just walk there themselves despite it being less than 200 meters. We have 3-2, which was a game of chicken mixed with Crossy Duck, or whatever that game is called, where you are a duck and you have to cross the road. Then we have 3-3. This one was surprisingly technical. You have to stop within a very slim target area, and you can use these posts to slow yourself down. And then finally 3S, where you escort 7 identical grandmas to some very precarious locations. Again, another surprisingly technical level, but I think after doing the bowling alley, it just felt easy. Everything felt easy after the bowling alley. So yeah, after finally escorting the cast of Calendar Girls across an obstacle course for some reason, we are now technically a crazy driver. Not to be confused with a crazy hamburger, but don't get me wrong, neither of them are edible. How did I do that? What the... So here we are, the final achievement, Amazing Driver. It's funny, it's only while recording the voiceover for this that I realized that the achievements are actually bugged in Crazy Taxi, where if you complete 3-1, 3-2, 3-3, and 3S, then you unlock Crazy Driver, which is supposed to be the final achievement you get for doing S1, S2, S3, and S4, right? But yeah, no, that unlocks after doing the 3 missions, and the final achievement, technically, Amazing Driver, that unlocks after you do the S missions, but it's supposed to unlock after you do the 3 missions, so that's a fun little thing that I noticed. Spaghetti code, okay? Spaghetti code. However, spaghetti code aside, let's dig in anyway. Our first mission, S1, was we had to get a specific amount of near misses, but getting hit would reset it back to 0, so you had to be kind of cracked. Special 2 involved you just taking a guy through a car park, making some pretty tight turns and trying not to hit all the cars along the way. S3 was a behemoth puzzle type stage. This one was actually quite fun. It would be like you would have to find the location of each person, pick them up in a logical order, and then once you'd picked everyone up in the quote-unquote correct order, then you would have enough time to get them all to the end. It was actually kind of fun. This level was good. And then comes the final level for the last achievement, SS. I don't really like the name of that one. For this one, you're just taking this guy with a mohawk for an entire lap of the city. But this one was made a little bit difficult with the fact that there's no actual clear-cut route. You kind of just have to like remember the route of the map and then figure out yourself how do you get from point A to point B to C, D, all the way around to do a full lap and have the game consider it to be a lap as well. So this one did take quite a couple of tries until I found the established route, but eventually, finally did it. We got there, and that was it. The final achievement, Amazing Driver, which should have been the second to last achievement, but the game was bugged, so you know, go figure. So there you have it. That's all the Steam achievements in Crazy Taxi, and another perfect game to throw on the list. All in all, I'd say the grind took me about 4 hours. Most of it spent on the bowling alley level, of course. And on a scale of 1 to 10 for getting all the achievements, I'd probably say this was about a 7. Because of the bowling alley achievement, of course. But at least there was no grind. Probably knock a point off. We'll give it maybe a 6 because of the lack of grind. So that about wraps it up for the video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed making it. It's a pretty fun hobby, not gonna lie. Like I said before, I stream my achievement hunting adventures live on Twitch, so if you're interested, you could always come say hi sometime. No pressure, of course. And maybe I'll see you again in the next video. But if not, then you could always leave a comment telling me I'm wrong because I hate Crazy Taxi. I hate Crazy Taxi, and Crazy Taxi ruined my life. Anyway, I've been Bruce. My friends call me B. I guess you can too if you watch the whole video. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!